Hi, this is for Alison Best, the head of Visit Oakland, and it's in response to a comment that she left or tried to leave on my blog, which I will approve. It has been held in moderative status until I produce this vlog message. Alison, there is a specific reason why I wrote what I wrote. First, it was catalyzed by the information that was brought to me by someone regarding Visit Oakland and the Oakland Running Festival. But given the fact that the first time that we met at the luncheon for the Oakland Running Festival, I believe 2 years ago at the restaurant that's across from Scott's Seafood, where the Oakland Running Festival held its post-press conference lunch, I attempted to explain to you, since you were new at the time and newly hired to run Visit Oakland, what we used to call the Oakland Convention and Visitors Bureau, what I had done in trying to bring Super Bowl, the 39th Super Bowl, the 2005 Super Bowl to Oakland. And for the most part, you didn't pay attention to what I was saying. For example, remember when I said that you needed a slogan about Oakland, 25 words or less to talk to anyone, and I said that in my case, when I made my presentation to the Super Bowl Policy Committee, I said that Oakland was a shining city on a hill, America's best example of diversity? I tried to explain that to you. Nothing. You didn't ask me one question regarding how I formed the Super Bowl bid. You acted like the classic person who treats another person who they don't want to listen to or don't want to believe did something in the way. That's how you acted. And I never, obviously, by my making this video and telling you that, I never forgot it. Only Kim was listening to me. But she had to adjust for the fact that you and the board member fellow there were barely paying attention at all. Okay? So I will start by saying this. If you have some issue with the fact that I ran the Super Bowl and almost brought it to Oakland, you let me know what that issue is. And if there's someone out there that had some issue with something that I did, you let me know that, because I can thoroughly and publicly address anything related to what I've done, and I have. I've blogged about every single aspect of my effort to bring the Super Bowl to Oakland between 1999 and 2001. Now, let me address what you wrote to me regarding what Visit Oakland is doing. First of all, regarding information about a Super Bowl, you're wrong. No, I said information about a Super Bowl and upcoming. If you are in the business, as I am, of producing information, you have the right to talk about Super Bowls ad nauseum. The simple fact of the matter is, unlike everybody that you've dealt with, there is one person that has formed a Super Bowl bid to bring to their city. But in my case, it's more than that. Keith Bruce, for example, and from my understanding, a good man, haven't met him yet, was hired to run the Super Bowl host committee after the bid was won. Daniel Lurie was my counterpart 15 years later. But even then, the difference between Daniel and me was that I had almost no help, and I got simply a pen and several sheets of paper, and I drew everything from the seating concept for the Coliseum as it would host the Super Bowl to a concept for something called Jack London's NFL Village, which would be the center point for events, a way of focusing Super Bowl attention on Oakland and countering the fact that San Francisco had the majority of hotels and still does to this day. We had to do something. You said in your your moderating note, that you were going to have a presentation on the 5th of March, I believe. You didn't tell me about that. And you should have, because, you said that Keith Bruce was going to come and talk about an economic impact. You didn't call me and ask what my estimate was for Oakland. I'll tell you, $64 million at the time. I haven't adjusted that. Not only that, our plan would have poured $4.4 million into the coffers of local Oakland charities. That's right, $4.4 million. So you talked about or wrote about the grants that you're applying for through the fabulous Super Bowl 50 Fund, or the 50 Fund as it's called, and I think that's excellent. But the bottom line is, the mark for us should be more than 4.4 million, since I designed the plan to get that in 1999. Something else. The overall economic impact will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 million, really 264 million. Anything above that is really a hope, and I salute anyone who thinks that we can get there. And I further salute them if they have the real numbers to back it. Because I calculated, as a person who does economic analysis, my own numbers a long time ago. So I trust my estimate better than anyone else's. That's what I was trained for. I learned something a long time ago from the late Thomas Berkeley. He's a great man. If you don't know who Thomas Berkeley is, Alison, you're not an Oaklander. Thomas Berkeley was the creator and publisher of the Oakland Post, Alan Doan's father. And I met him when I represented Elihu Harris, when Elihu was mayor of Oakland. And Thomas and I went down to, Mr. Berkeley, went down to L.A. on a kind of a fact-finding mission, which is another long story. During that flight, he, as he loved to do, would grab me by the scruff of the neck and say, "Young man, I'm going to tell you something." And the one thing he told me, he told me a number of things I never forgot, but one stuck out. He told me that if you don't make media yourself, and I'm paraphrasing, that the media will be written for you, particularly as someone who's black. And doggone it, everything that Mr. Berkeley said to me has been proven to be absolutely true. And that is one reason why I started my own media company, and that's one reason why I started Oakland's first blog after I left the city of Oakland before Jerry could fire me. I said, "You can't fire me." I quit because of the way I was treated. It's well documented. In fact, when the 2005 Super Bowl hit, Monty Poole, then with the Oakland Tribune, wrote, "The 2005 Super Bowl should have been in Oakland. Here's why." And he talked about what I did. But beyond that, I figured that I can't rely on somebody else to tell my story. I have to do it myself. But I'm going to tell you something, Alison. I couldn't have built Zenny 62 Media. I couldn't have established Oakland's first blog, or any of the 80 blogs and 300 social network platforms that I built, and other systems that I built to communicate a message in a broad and a dramatic and fast way, without the assistance of the National Football League. If it weren't for Joe Brown and Roger Goodell, now the commissioner, who saw how terribly Oakland treated me at that time and said, "Zenny, if there's anything we can do for you, let us know." And I took them up on it, and I said, "I'd love to cover the NFL draft," and they said yes. And I did that because I learned something. For one thing, you don't ask your friends for a job to work for them, because then the friendship goes bad. But something else too. I wanted the chance to create my own way of telling a story and doing media, and then being sensitive in an Epcottian sort of way to the advance of technology and adjusting to it and using it. And that's what I did in building Zenny 62 Media. But I also built it because I knew that someone would try to sweep under the rug what I did with respect to almost bringing the Super Bowl to Oakland. The NFL has not tried to do that. The NFL has been very helpful to me. Very helpful. I have been to 10 Super Bowls. I have been to more NFL owners meetings than anyone else, save for a handful of people that you're going to meet. And I've attended NFL owners meetings from two perspectives: as the head of a Super Bowl bid committee and as a member of the media. I love the NFL. And I love the NFL because it's not just that it represents or tries to represent the best in American culture. And I know someone would laugh when they say that, but it really does try to do that. But also, the NFL is really helpful to those people who have moved heaven and earth to positively represent it and its brand, and have been essentially a friend to the league. And that describes me. So what you should have done when I explained to you, or tried to explain to you, my involvement in nearly bringing the Super Bowl here, just lost by just 8 NFL votes, your next action should have been to set up a meeting with me just to learn. You didn't do that. When you saw what I wrote on my blog about Visit Oakland, your action should have been to call me. You didn't do that. Prior to that, Kim's action should have been to say, you know what, I need to call Zinni, because Zinni's been involved in this, and he knows this better than we do. I've forgotten more about Super Bowls than anyone in your office has ever known or ever will know. And that includes anyone you're in contact with. I stand by that. So the bottom line is this. It's you that has to call me. I run my own media company. I'm a publisher. I don't work for someone else. I am not a reporter. I'm an Oakland stakeholder. I'm a person who operates a business that impacts Oakland. And I'm a media person. So for those 3 reasons, you should have called me. But I'll add a 4th. I headed the Oakland Super Bowl 39 bidding committee. And I took us to a place that no one thought we would go. To the fall NFL owners meeting in 2000, we nearly brought the Super Bowl to Oakland. And there is no one in this city's history that can make that claim except me. My number is 510-517-7565. It's also on my blog. So if you don't call me, it's not my fault. But you should call me. It is not for me to call you. Thank you.